everyone, welcome so much. Welcome back. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for making it back here. If this is your first time, please do consider subscribing. We talk about skincare, we talk about fashion and style and things that propels everyday woman to the next height. So let's talk about DIY versus drugstore skincare. Yes. Sometimes I tend to forget when you have too much going on in your head. Your mind is everywhere. So let's tackle the issue of skincare that you made from your own kitchen to skincare that you purchased from the drugstore. Very often I get some comments about people see me doing DIY and the next day they see me doing drugstore. There is absolutely nothing wrong with using drugstore or doing DIY. It's entirely up to you. After watching today's video, you're gonna decide what you really want to do. Now, first of all, let's look at the pros and cons of DIY. Let's do the glasses. Ooh, when the lashes are too long, they tend to nip on your glasses. Anyway, so too much chit chat. Let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is, before you even jump into DIY, you need to understand the pH level of your skin, of the skin, the alkaline and the acidity of the skin. A normal skin ranges from 4.7 to 5.7 pH balance. However, a skin that is neutral goes a little bit above 5 to 7. So between 5 to 7, you consider neutral skin. And this means that your skin is ready to combat free radicals and to combat aging. So understanding your pH, the pH level of the skin is very important, because I slaughter aloe vera and gel on my skin doesn't mean that if you do the same thing that is going to do the same thing for you. Everybody have different skin type: oily skin, dry skin, combination skin, natural skin, T-zone, which is called combination skin. So try to understand your own skin type first of all. So like I said, so a skin pH that is under 4.7 is considered acidic. So let's look into the DIY factors, the things that you need to consider before you do your own DIY at home. The first thing that really have to come into your head before you even start doing DIY is the availability of the product. Is it available for you? Can you reach that product today, tomorrow, next week, next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks? This is something that you might want to consider before you do your own DIY. The next thing you might want to consider is the durability of DIY, because really, honestly, truthfully, candid, the thing that you need to consider is the durability. Okay, if you do a DIY today, you need to use your DIY within 24 hours, because if you don't use it within 24 hours, it tends to separate. You will see the water begin to separate from the main ingredient. So storage is another thing, because DIY does not contain preservatives. You need to bear that in mind. Are you able to be buying aloe vera? I'm trying to use aloe vera as an example. Are you able to be buying aloe vera every day on a daily basis and be slathering that on your face? If that's what you want to do and you can afford that, go ahead and do that. The next thing is the storage. I always love to talk about storage. I come from Nigeria. 100% of people in Nigeria does not have electricity, so you have to consider storage. If you do this today and you don't have electricity and you don't have a good fridge to store your DIY that you're going to use the next day, it is going to be considered null and void. So it will not work. The strength will tend to diminish. So the next thing you also want to consider is the price. DIY is very pricey, extremely expensive, because think about that. On a daily basis, on a weekly basis, you are buying aloe vera, you are buying you are buying you're buying fresh milk, you're buying yogurt to wash your face, you're buying strawberry. So you have to also consider that if you can afford to do that on a daily basis, think why not go ahead and do that. It will really surely work for you. But if you don't have the money to be making DIY every day, it does not cut that for you. The second thing is time. Do you have enough time every morning to get up to whoop up your own special yogurt to wash your face? If you have the time, go ahead and do it. So those are the factors, some of the factors you also need to consider. The next thing, very crucial, is the products or the fruits or vegetables that you're using to make your DIY. You need to consider how those products are grown. Are those clone? So are those clone? Are those natural? If those are natural, you're going to get all your utmost benefit from using pure, natural, and organic. And organic could also be very pricey in this part of the world. Even in Africa, they also have some modified. I was meant to believe that they have some modified product in Africa. So those are the things you really need to consider. The next thing you want to consider is the proportion. The proportion, the size. Are you measuring it right? Sometimes if you don't measure it right, it could really ruin your skin and give you the negative effect instead of giving you the positive effect of why you are doing that DIY skincare. And you also have to consider the best DIY for your skin type, because I have combination skin or oily skin. Whatever I'm going to use on my skin is going to be different from somebody who have dry skin. So put those things into consideration. If you know your formula, if you know how to do it well, if you know how to do the appropriate research of what you want to do, go ahead and try that. I am a very big fan of DIY. I love my DIY. The next thing you also want to consider about using DIY is the traveling aspect of that. Let's say I live in Canada. I'm going to US for about a week, not even 24 hours, about a week. How am I going to be doing DIY in the hotel or in anywhere that I'm spending the night? And if I do a DIY here to travel with, in the next 24-48 hours, it will either become so acidic or it will become so alkaline. So those are the key things you also want to consider. The best DIY that I love traveling with is oil. The oils can never go wrong. The oil stays for longer, for 2 months, 3 months, or more. Depends on if you have continuous electricity to store them into the fridge. So I love traveling with my carrot oil, avocado oil, orange oil, lemon oil that I made for myself. So I would choose oil over facial wash. I will definitely choose oil every day. You can never go wrong with preparing your own oil, because even though they're DIY, they're natural, they have longer lifespan than having a mask done. So masks should be used within 24 hours. Oil you can use for as long as you have them. And remember, DIYs are made in small quantities, so they can last for a very few time, and then you can do another one. So let's look into the drugstore. Drugstore products, a lot of people don't like. So a lot of people that use DIY don't like using over-the-counter medication. On the contrary, you have to remember that not over-the-counter medication, over-the-counter skincare. Also, we have to bear in mind that drugstore products are being done by chemists. So I believe they know the formulation, they know which one that stays under the lights, which one stays in the fridge, which one you shouldn't put in the bathroom. So they go to school to know how to formulate those products. Second of all, they are very inexpensive. I am not saying that because somebody will jump the gun here and tell me, oh, I use a skincare for $200, for $1,000. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that you can still go and purchase a product of $30. I'm being realistic and I want to be in the middle. Product you purchase for $30, you can use it for up to a month or 2 months. But the DIY that you purchase for, the ingredients that you purchase for $30 can last for you for 24 hours and that's it, gone. Think about going to buy organic carrot, organic cucumber and all these things. They cost more money. So this is where I am laying my facts about being inexpensive or being ridiculously expensive. So those are the things you might want to consider. If you really want to know more about your skin, you need to put your eyes and your nose down and you want to research and do and know the ingredients that is contained in each drugstore skincare. So those are being formulated by people, and a lot of people have also said to my own ear when I talk to friends and stuff like that, drugstore skincare causes cancer because it contains a lot of chemicals. And then when you ask them what chemicals in this drugstore do you think that is causing cancer, a lot of them don't know. It's just a speculation that goes around and around. I am sure there are tons and tons of awesome drugstore products that doesn't cause cancer, and I am also sure that, and I have not yet seen somebody who come out and say, okay, I use this brand of drugstore product and then it cost me cancer. So these things are the things we need to be very mindful of before we try choosing, is DIY good? Is DIY bad? Is drugstore good? Is drugstore bad? You have to weigh your options, know your pros and cons, know the adverse effects. Some of them, when you use them, the same thing goes on skincare, on drugstore products. Some of them also have some adverse effects. So in other words, what I'm here to tell you is that DIY or drugstore or beauty store brand, everything is entirely up to you. It's all about individual perception. What works for you might not work for the other person. So again and again, I have my hands on my ears. Tomorrow somebody will come here and tell me, oh, you're doing DIY, how come you're using over the counter? Whatever that cuts down for you. When I have my own skincare line, which I had before, and I'm working on bringing that down. Of course, I'm bringing it out. Of course, it's not all natural products. For something to be in a can or in a jar to sell it, it's no more all natural products. So when you go to some stores and you're telling yourself or deceiving yourself, so sometimes people go to the store to buy all natural product skincare. There is nothing called all natural products as long as it's already in a jar and is sealed. It has a tiny bit of preservative. There must be the smallest, babiest, smallest, tiniest thing of preservatives in your all natural products that you purchase from the store. So pay attention. If you can afford to use all DIY and you can do it every day from your kitchen every day, go ahead. I use my DIY at least 4 times a week. And then I also use over the drugstore products as well. So you can never go wrong. Whatever that works for you. Sometimes I make my DIY, I leave it in the fridge. After 2 days, they're not good enough anymore. I toss them, I throw them in the trash, and not every day do I have time to sit down and do DIY. So I have my I have my drugstore products just to substitute my DIY. If you are not sure, I will leave the link in the first comments box where I did a video about all drugstore skincare that I use on a daily basis for daytime and nighttime. So thank you guys for your time. Remember, if you're not yet subscribed, click that red button, subscribe, and share the video. I will see you guys in my next video. Au revoir. Bye.